everyone. Welcome to NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner. And with me today is Gwen Collins. She's a senior coordinator of English, and we're going to discuss the summer reading program. But welcome to NPS Now first.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you on the show. You always bring some great props with you, so we'll get into those shortly. But why is it important for students of all ages to continue reading throughout the summer?
You know, reading's like playing a sport, and you just have to keep practicing it to even stay at the level where you are right now during school. And so we really encourage our students to read on a daily basis over the summer.
So how does reading over the summer stop or help with the summer slide?
Right, well, summer slide is when our students actually go backwards in their reading level and do not become, their proficiency decreases. And to stop that summer slide, the best thing to do is to have your child read every day for at least 14.2 minutes. And that will help them stay right where they are. So it's just like playing basketball. If you practice basketball, you stay at the same level that you are when you play the sport, or you get better, and reading is the same thing. So
tell me a little about the reading list. Approximately how many books are on it, and how is it compiled, and where is the list located?
Okay, well, we have 4 reading lists for Norfolk Public Schools, summer reading lists. We have a pre-K 2 list, a 3-5 list, a 6-8 list, and a 9-12 list. And on each one of those lists, I'd say we have well over 100 titles of books, and we get those from different types of places. The Virginia State Reading Association publishes Reader Choice Awards. We look at the International Literacy Association for their book lists, and the American Library Association to see what current new titles are out there for our students that they might like to read.
Well, let's take a sneak peek at some of these books. What do you have with us here
today?
Okay,
well, I did bring some props. So this book is A House for Hermit Crab, and it's by Eric Carle, and this would be on our pre-K list. And this Eric Carle is a great author to look for any of his books for summer reading. They're fun. Hermit crab needs a new home, and so it's all about him trying to find one in the ocean. And so this is a perfect summer read for our pre-K 2 students. And then this book is...
I'll hold on to it.
This is a series book, and it's the Time Warp Trio series by John Skiza, and it's Summer Reading is Killing Me, and it's what happens when these students are stuck in a summer reading list and how they work that adventure to get out of that list. So this is another fun one.
What grade level?
This is 3 through 5, so grades 3 through 5. Okay. And then this book is was one of our Battle of the Books this year for our middle schoolers, The War That Saved My Life. And this is about a brother and sister during World War II. It's a great story. And our students, it's been one of our favorite books of our students. So this is on our 6 through 8, so our middle school reading list. And then this book, The Skin I'm In by Sharon Flake, is on our high school list. And this is what we call a high interest, low readability book. So it's a quick, easy read for our high school students, perfect for a summertime read, but it's about bullying and how you can overcome that and really think about how being comfortable in your own skin.
Oh wow, that's great.
So this great book.
Great options, great topics too. Is it helpful for students to read more than just books over the summer?
Oh, definitely. So there's lots of other things out there that our students can read, from magazines to the newspaper to websites. I even encourage parents, if you go somewhere, have them read the map, have them read the websites about the places that you're going. If you're going to Busch Gardens or King's Dominion, pull those pamphlets out and have them read what the hours are, how much it costs, how to get there, things like that.
And our students are very technologically inclined, so it would be great to have them go online and do some reading there too.
And there's blogs, there's all different types of things you can read on websites.
So give us parents some helpful tips for over the summer to keep our students engaged in reading.
The main 2 tips for parents, I would say, the first thing is you need to make time for reading. So you need to make sure that that's part of a habit and a routine that your children are in on a daily basis. And the other piece is to give your kids choices. So if you're always telling them what they have to read, they may not want to read it as much as if you let them do some choosing about what they want to read.
That's great. How are you encouraging reading throughout our district?
Well, our big initiative is Read 14.2, and I talked about that for a minute earlier, and that is really where we want our students to read independently every day a book of choice for a book. It could be a book, a newspaper, for 14.2 minutes. Students who read that amount of time consistently usually score in the 80th percentile on reading. Their reading proficiency increases and they just become better readers. And with that initiative, we have our summer reading list for each grade level, and then we also have a bookmark that's included with our summer reading list, which gives parent tips. It also has a list of questions that you can just to start conversations about books that your children are reading, and then it also lists some websites that you can visit to find more information about things that your child could read.
So specifically, where can parents like myself find this summer reading list and more information?
Our summer reading lists are on the Norfolk Public Schools website.
Okay.
And all of our Norfolk libraries have copies of our summer reading lists as well.
Right. So when do we begin the 14.2 Read initiative?
We began that at the beginning of this school year. Well, actually, I want to say 2 years ago, where we just started to roll it out a little bit with our reading specialists, and we're really pushing it now with all of our schools, that our students should really be reading that amount of time on a daily basis.
And that's great. So the parents now, they know they've been given tips and information. So let's hope our students enjoy summer reading and having fun.
That's right. I hope so. There's lots out there to read.
Yes, I'm definitely going to check some of your selections out from my rising fifth grader. So thank you, Gwen, for coming on the show today and sharing about our summer reading program.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great. And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now.
Welcome back to NPS Now. I'm Steve Sutmiller, Senior Coordinator of Athletics. Today in the studio we have Coach Hank Sawyer from Lake Taylor High School. Coach, welcome.
Thank you, Steve.
We have you down here. It's June, but we're going to talk a little bit about football because it's around the corner. Coach, we just finished up with all of our coaches and in service with USA Football. So talk about the involvement of Norfolk Public Schools and USA Football, and what is USA Football?
Well, USA Football is an organization that you get certified in, and the bottom line, it all deals with safety, helmet safety, shoulder pad safety, to do the correct drills, making sure kids get in shape, making sure coaches have the background knowledge, or maybe, sudden cardiac arrest, or getting the kids acclimated to the weather. Some weather's hot, some weather's cold, and get them ready. It's a real good, and it's nationally certified program. And I said the other night we had a conference, about USA Football. I've been coaching for 40 years. In the last 3 years, I found out I was doing a whole lot of things wrong as far as the safety part of it, or the part that the kid takes off the field where he maybe complained to his parents, he may have a concussion, he may have a shoulder injury, that type of thing. So that the kid can feel confident in the coaches that they can go to them and talk about things.
Okay, so that's a good lead-in. So talk about what the coaches learned. And we know there were 4 courses.
4 courses, so, concussions being number 1. It's state mandated, which is a great thing, but it's also, that's the first thing probably that could happen, is a concussion. You could get a jolt to the brain, and it could be, just it may not have to be a big blow. It could just be a shifting or some contact. Then you have sudden cardiac arrest. Then you also have the blocking, shoulder, helmet fitting, shoulder pad fitting, and it tells you all about those things, how to measure kid, correct helmet size, shoulder pads.
Okay, and then that, you mentioned that last one, the heat illness.
The heat illness, heat illness. Kids stayed in, especially in football, kids been in air conditioning all summer, and then they come out there and they dehydrate or they have a heat illness, and the coaches can be the first one to recognize that. A lot of times we say we have trainers, but we have 100 kids out there sometimes the coaches have to assess.
Right.
It's just getting kids acclimated to the weather. Now's a good time in June here to get acclimated to the heat, as well as when it gets cold, getting acclimated to the cold weather.
Mm-hmm. All right, Coach. So we got these courses done. We got the clinic going. So let's talk about Hank Sawyer's involvement with USA Football. 3 years ago, we were able to send you and Coach Cotton to a conference in Indianapolis, and then we've been able to continue that. With that continuation, you've been asked to be involved a little bit more at the national level.
Yeah, well, they asked me to. They know they have some questions or some areas, and they want my expertise on how you feel about it, being firsthand with the kids, to put it on. What's most important, we put it on display at the conferences. The conferences is just unbelievable. It's just any question you have, they can answer it at the conference. And it talks all about, building relationships and networking with other, football coaches, with other experts, medical people, personnel, doctors and all, so that we can, prevent or do all the necessary things for safety. Mm-hmm. With concussions, when we first started out 3 years ago, they used to call it heads up. And they focus on heads up so much about getting the helmet out, the head out of football, that it actually put the head in more because of the title say heads up. And, teaching the kids how to, play football naturally and do the right things. And then they won't have to focus on the helmet, because if you teach them the right drills, the right technique, the helmet's going to automatically come out of it,
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that about it. So no longer do we talk heads up football with USA. We talk about USA Football, proper technique. The bottom line is safety.
Okay. All right. So the bottom line is safety for the student athlete. So, how does the athlete benefit from the drills that your coaches are learning, and they transition back onto the field?
Well, first of all, the drill is going to teach them how to do it the correct way. And I think you came out over a year ago, maybe 2 years now. it was 2 years ago when Roman Bonds and Tucker Dorsey was there. I had kids tell me, "Wow, Coach, I should have learned this a long time ago. These techniques, these drills that we're doing, they make me feel more safe. I don't have to worry about my head as much, because the way the coaches are teaching the drill, it gets my head out of there. It makes me safer, and we say a lot of things. We use a lot of terminology. Coaches have the same terminology. Kids have the same terminology. Okay. If the parents would go to USA site, it would be the same terminology."
All right. Another good lead-in. We're doing this, we're going through USA Football training. A lot of hearsay out there is, football is getting a bad rap. So to tell a parent, why we do this, how are you going to sell that?
Well, we sell it to the parents because we let them know that, because we have some unbelievable helmets in this city. Norfolk, I can't speak for nobody else, but in middle school and high school, we have the best helmets. Norfolk a few years ago got rid of every helmet that didn't pass the 5+ rating that the colleges did the study on. So the coaches are being trained. They're being taught, not the old way, what's best for their sons or daughters in 2018, that's going to help keep them sharp. And the coaches need to study this, and we'll tell them they're going to study it. And the parents have any questions, they can call. They can go to the site. We have charts. We have different things that teach us the progression of blocking or tackling. We have, and once again, if their helmet is fitted properly, the shoulder pads fitted properly, we talk about drills that control the hips, the head, the arms. It's going to make it safer. And we'll probably have more equipment than any other sport to protect their sons or daughters. Mm-hmm. And they need to understand that. And if they, even if I have a parent that come by the school, so let me see it. I'll take them to the site. I'll take them to what USA nationally said, the size helmet, the size shoulder pad. We'll also talk about, what involves our trainers. In Norfolk, we have trainers that tell us when we have to just go shorts and shirts, no helmet, no shoulder pad. Mm-hmm. When we have to leave off the field, the same way with the weather. So, and then even if the trainer isn't there at present, we have where you have put sites that the coaches can go to and say, man, there's no way we can have those helmet and shoulder pads. We need to take 15-minute water breaks, or besides, let a kid get water as he freely wants to. You know, as well, if a kid's feeling bad, he has to have that trust, you know, in the coaches. And the coaches have to treat all players just like they're their sons or daughters. And if you do it that way, you can't go wrong.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a good message. We know we have, what I think we have is a heck of an athletic training program, safeties first, and then initiating with USA football. It's all coming together to continue the sport of football, and we do, each of our schools does a heck of a job with their programs. So, all right, Coach, let's change a little direction, but you know, the year has ended. We're getting ready for football. What does a student athlete need in order to participate in this upcoming season, football, volleyball, whatever?
He needs a physical. He has to get a physical from a certified medical personnel. In the school, you know, the athletic director, coaches give you the physical. He needs to go online along with his parent or guardian and take the concussion course, and both parents will have to sign that form after viewing it. Then they bring that back to the coach, who gives it to the trainer. And as well, and once the physicals is filled out, the trainer along with the coaches, I check my physicals. And sometimes it takes me a while to check them thoroughly. Then the trainer checks them thoroughly. And now's the time to get the physical, because if they had a physical last year, they're still doing preseason workouts on that physical, but you can check the new physical, because sometimes new things happen.
Right.
You know. Also, you have to make sure that we have an asthma pump on file at school, and the trainer a lot of times will tell you if it's getting up there. And so, and we'll stop them, we'll set them out. The whole line is USA football is just like the concussion thing. When in doubt with any of it, set them out. Okay.
Coach, good information. And I just want to make one little plug. Those physicals have to be dated after May 1st, 2018.
Yes,
They're
they
good
do.
for the whole year.
Yes.
So we hope the student athletes are out there going to follow that, and we think we'll have a good upcoming season, because we're putting in a lot of safe measures. So, Coach, I want to thank you for coming down.
Well, thanks for having me.
Good luck in the upcoming season.
Thanks for having me. I'm a big advocate for USA football. There's so much information. It's one of the greatest clinics I've ever attended, and I've been coaching for 40 years.
All right, great. All right, more NPS Now after this.
Welcome back to NPS Now. With me today is Rhonda White. She is the Senior Coordinator for Math, and we're going to be talking about summer math programs or opportunities for our students over the summer to keep their math skills up. So welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you.
We know I just did a segment on, the reading summer reading list. So what are we doing with math? What can we do to help kids keep those math skills up over the summer months?
So just like with reading, students can experience what we call a math slide during the summer, in which they could lose up to 2 months of instruction.
Wow.
So we want to make sure that we're engaging our students and continuing to have them think like mathematicians over the summer.
Wow, so what can we do to help? And we're going to go through each grade level type. What can you do to help, like myself, who has a rising 5th grader, to help keep her engaged in math and keep those math skills up over the summer months?
Well, I like to tell parents, first of all, we want our students to not feel like, oh my gosh, we have more drill, but this time it's with mom. Even though we're our children's first teachers, we want it to be engaging, we want it to be fun. So I always say, highlight what you do in your everyday life as a mathematician, and have your child become involved and engaged in those types of activities.
So what would you suggest for like an elementary student?
So beginning with kindergartners, you may have them doing things with you, counting objects, especially kindergarten and 1st grade, counting objects up to 10 in kindergarten and being able to deal with those, and then up to 110 in 1st grade, and 2nd graders and 3rd graders. Of course, we want to move on to more 3-digit numbers in 2nd grade and larger numbers in 3rd grade. But I want to also practice those addition and subtraction skills. And you can actually begin that in 1st grade. And as you're moving into 4th and 5th grade, I not only want to do multiplication and division skills, but I want to really start engaging them talking about fractions and decimals as well.
Oh, wow. So how can we help the middle school parents with math over their summer?
Again, we cannot bore them. I have a teenager myself,
yes.
and if I just present to her a bunch of worksheets, she will not be happy. But with our middle school students, we want to help them to build on with those reasoning skills. We want to really move towards using proportional reasoning. We want to talk about ratios, which is looking at percents and decimals and fractions in a different way. We want to have them engaged as well.
So can't leave the high schoolers out. What can we do for those students?
And actually, when we're talking about high school, especially if we're talking about students that are entering into algebra and beyond, some of those students actually still struggle with the basic computation skills and looking at whole numbers and then rational and irrational numbers. So we want to also engage with them. Again, though, they're not going to be very accepting of a workbook, so to speak. So we may need to engage them in additional things like Khan Academy, which is an online free resource. They can go on and actually do a little assessment, and then it will help them to be able to see where they can actually practice over the summer.
Exactly. So what kind of impact can parents and students practicing math over the summer have for them when they return in the fall?
Well, considering that you could lose up to 2 months of instruction, you're actually gaining that time. So instead of teachers having to spend weeks at the beginning of the school year reminding them what they should have done the year before, they can actually start more at the point where they should be in the fall and then move forward faster.
I understand that number sense is a real area of focus that we're looking at, and it will continue in the fall. What is real? What is the number sense? I'm sorry.
That number sense is really not just knowing what the number is, but how it behaves when it interacts with other numbers. So beginning in kindergarten and 1st grade, looking at the magnitude, the size of numbers, and we say counting a lot when we talk about number sense in the earlier grades. But as we move on, we also have to think about how it creates our base 10 system where you have tens and ones and place value. And for some parents, they'll say, oh yeah, I remember that.
You're sending us back to school. I was going to say, you got to explain that a little bit more for the parents at home.
So that's a really important foundational part of number sense. And so once you're able to do that, then you can do things like compare and lead on to what we call decomposing and composing numbers, which is computation. Again, leading to another area in middle school that sometimes is problematic when we look at those numbers and we have to do things like add, subtract, multiply, and divide. They look back and they say, well, they didn't learn this in elementary school.
Wow. Yeah.
So a lot of times that's due to a poor number sense.
So how does this vary for the grade levels?
So beginning, like I said, in kindergarten and 1st grade, they do begin with the magnitude. They say the numbers, they compare them. And then as they move on to 2nd and 3rd grade, the larger numbers, they're doing similar things. But as you move on to 4th and 5th grade, you're really getting into dealing with fractions and decimals. In middle school, you're moving on to dealing with not just fraction decimals, but percents. And eventually, the interaction with integers in middle schools is usually problematic for those students with problems with number sense in elementary, which leads to problems in algebra. So we're talking about in high school or in middle school when they take algebra, they have issues with dealing with those types of numbers.
So that foundation of number sense is critical.
Yes,
it's
and
vitally important.
It builds upon each other. So
yeah, not having that number sense can affect students learning math.
Yes, and moving on to higher maths. So they have this anxiety because they don't have the basic skills, and they can't move on to do the things like the proportional reasoning that's so important in middle school.
What can students do over the summer to improve their number sense?
I think the first thing is just to realize that some things may come easy to you, and then there are other things that give you a struggle. And discussing those things with your parent and having a parent find out from a teacher before the end of the school year or by looking at their report cards that these things are problematic and being willing to address those over the summer. Some students just want to practice those skills and then continue to move forward. So you can use those websites for practice, especially for fluency with your basic facts and the basic number sense, but also to enrich you and just to keep moving forward.
So you think it's a problem of how we've been addressing it, or the lack of it? It's been a concern or a challenge for us?
I think it's the lack of it. And there are some research studies that will show that the summertime for math is a time where students tend to slide back with number sense and with computation skills. However, they sometimes can grow with their reasoning skills because it's so out of the box, and it's not just that worksheet that they're completing every day.
Right. So tell us again the different websites that parents and students can go to over the summer to increase their math skills and their number sense skills over the summer months.
Well, there's so many. Just a few that I'll quickly highlight would be some free ones. First, pbskids.org is one that younger students can, and it feels like a game. So for them, it's engaging, it's fun, and a few minutes a day out of their how many hours do they spend online anyway, or on the tablet or on the phone. So we can kind of structure that time for a few minutes a day that could actually help them gain some important number sense and computation skills. For older children, 3rd all the way through 8th grade, they might go to Prodigy, PRODIGY.com.
Okay.
Another free website that we use during school sometime, but it has different things that if you pay for, you can have access to. But the free version is just as important for practice and skills. Again, it feels like a game. And even students entering into algebra and beyond, they may lack some of these foundational skills that students would have earned 3rd through 8th grade. So they can actually go on and benefit from that as well.
So for high schoolers, it would be Khan Academy.
Khan Academy is a great one. IXL actually has little pieces that are important. But I like Khan Academy because even if your child has taken the PSAT, if your child has already taken that, they probably have an account already set up. They did it at school or when they actually were administered the PSAT test. And they're able to go on, and that test has already looked at their data and already created a pathway for them. And studies have shown that students that actually go on and they use Khan Academy daily and weekly even, that their SAT scores improve.
That's a great tip.
Yes.
I'm sure parents are appreciative. I want to thank you for coming on this show to talk about summer math, and I'm sure they're going to take your tips and use them.
Great, thank you.
Great to have you on the show. And we want to thank you for watching. NPS Now airs weekly on WNPS Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or information you'd like to share, email us at nps_news@npsk12.com. Again, we want to thank you for watching. NPS Now.